My name is Andy Kim. I'm the congressman of the New Jersey 3rd Congressional District. I grew up right here in Burlington County, New Jersey. I'll be honest, I don't really like politics. This is not what I really enjoy doing. What I like doing is public service. Prior to running for office, I was in government. I worked in diplomacy for the United States, but elected office was like the furthest thing that I ever thought about. It's just not something I engaged on. I don't really get caught up in sort of the Democrats, Republicans kind of approach, but I couldn't ignore the fact that so many things that affect my life and the lives of my kids and my family are affected by the politics. And I think that's when I decided to get engaged. It's unavoidable. You know, it's not something I can just tune out of. So if I have a problem with it, I think I decided, like, what am I going to do to maybe try to fix it?
How has your race affected your position?
When I was in diplomacy, it played a role insofar as a lot of people just assumed that in foreign policy that I'd be interested in working on Asia issues just because of my ethnicity, my heritage. And I found that frustrating because, you know, I wanted to work on the Middle East, and it's, you know, I just don't see why we should be pigeonholed to assume that we want to do that kind of interest. And I had colleagues that were clearly not working on issues related to their heritage, and no one seemed to question that. So, like, I found that problematic and frustrating. It's kind of like, it kind of gets at that kind of perpetual foreigner myth, this idea that, you know, no matter how long we're here in this country, that we're always kind of tied in with you know, our heritage. It manifested in worse ways. Like when I was at the State Department, there was a period where I was banned from working on issues related to Korea simply because I'm Korean American. And I found that to be offensive. Like, I found it really offensive that my country, you know, after having passed a security clearance, like, you know, I already passed the security clearance, that they still just decided that they couldn't trust me. You know, it just felt like it was very disrespectful. When it came to running for office, I was running for a district that was 85% white, less than 3% Asian population. So I had a lot of people tell me, like, look, you seem like a nice guy and all, great resume, but you're just not gonna win. And some of that was because I was young. I was only 34 years old when I first started the run. I never ran for office before, so I didn't have the experience in that way. But the main thing was just, I think a lot of people just didn't think that a person that looks like me can win a district that overwhelmingly doesn't look like me. I've been really interested in leaning into the education side. We have to recognize that, you know, the Asian American story is integral to the broader story here in this country. And yes, it's important for me and others to be able to learn and feel inspired about our own heritage and our own culture in that capacity. But frankly, it's important for others too, to recognize and understand the contributions, to understand the long history of Asian Americans in this country.
You had also sponsored Bill HRES 390, and it's recognizing the significance of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month as an important time to celebrate the significant contributions of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders to the history of the United States. So what does this recognition look like? I
do think it's important, again, that we take a step back every once in a while as a country and be able to celebrate the rich culture and heritage. In particular, with the AAPI community, it's not monolithic. There's so many different cultures and languages and facets of that. It takes a long time to kind of unpack it. Having a month where, you know, we can celebrate that, and the different elements within the community can also come out and share their own. So it's not just seen as just one umbrella necessarily, but, you know, lots of different pillars within there. That excites me.
After the riots in the Capitol in January, you had cleaned up the debris scattered around the rotunda and the adjacent rooms, and I know that received a lot of media coverage. So could you talk about why you did that and sort of what was going through your head in the moment and what sort of like inspired you to do that?
And I very distinctly remember my mom talking to me about this amazing building. And I remember, you know, being a kid, you look at the Capitol building, I mean, it was enormous. You know, it was so big, and the dome was just overwhelming. And I gained a lot of respect for that building. My mom taught me to really love and respect that building as an emblem of this country that has given my family so much opportunity. You know, my parents moved here roughly 50 years ago, and they came from a poor families in Korea, and for them to have this opportunity to build this life here in America, it wasn't always easy. It was enormously difficult for them. I did not set out to do it. It was not something that I was like, oh, I'm gonna go clean now. It was very instinctive. I didn't even think about it. I just started cleaning. If I had thought about it, I probably would have brought gloves and like maybe a broom and the idea that it was Americans that did that. There are people that claim to love this country that decided that they were going to spend their day trashing and destroying one of the most beautiful buildings in this country that is a symbol of our democracy. I just couldn't believe it. So I wanted to get the Capitol back in its beautiful state as quickly as humanly possible. I'm guessing that's kind of how it all kind of unfurled in my mind. But like I said, in the moment, I just reacted.
Yeah. So if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think I would tell myself to try to enjoy the moment a little bit more. You know, I was willing to sacrifice a lot to do the work that I did serving this country, and I'm proud of the work that I did, but I think there's a way in which I could have been there for my loved ones a little bit better.
Do you have a favorite Asian dish? And if you can't kind of think of like Asian because it's pretty broad, any specific Korean dish?
Like the Korean dish, it's a pretty easy one for me. I love kalbi. I love Korean barbecue. Whenever I come back from being abroad, it's like the first thing that I eat. It just makes me feel home.